Today we are looking at the smallest unit that I've ever seen in Chicago, and it is coming in at a whopping 228 square feet.
All memories fade. I walk alone through this empty parade. Night falls so slow.
Guys, I'm so excited to make this video. My entire YouTube channel was originally based off of Small Space Living and Organization. Fun fact, if you didn't know, which you probably don't, legally, the smallest that you're able to make a unit in the city of Chicago is 125 square feet, which is so little. This unit is a full whopping 100 square feet more than that. This unit is right in the heart of Lincoln Park in such a fantastic location, and it is going for $1,268 a month, which as far as units in Lincoln Park go is a really killer price. I just love a small and efficient unit, so I'm very, very excited to take you in. Let's go ahead and check it out.
Whiskey warm on a brittle fun night. She was doing fine and I was doing right. Falling into daydreams of our lives. I tried my best to hide feelings deep inside. Starstruck in those eyes.
So I was really excited to make this video for you today. Often I have clients who are moving from out of state and they only want to imagine themselves living in a one bed. I myself have lived in 2 studios. My first apartment ever on my own was a 400-ish square foot studio in Phoenix, Arizona. And then when Alex and I first moved to Chicago, we lived in a 450 square foot studio in the heart of River North. I get DMs and messages from people all the time who say how badly they want to move to Chicago, but they could never afford it because they look at the prices of one beds. They can't imagine living in a studio. I choose location over everything, and I feel like it is very easy to make a small space really comfortable and homey and exactly what you want and break apart your spaces. But for me, I would so much rather live in the location that I want to be in. One of the many reasons why I've always loved studio apartments so much. My entire channel started off by being based on small space living and organization, and I just think when I talk to these people who want so desperately to move to Chicago, I want to just like rewire their brains a little bit to consider small spaces, because it is not a negative and you really can make them so incredible and homey. It is small, it's 228 square feet, but it is a I think that it is a totally workable space. So I am really excited. Let's go ahead and check it out. Welcome inside to the smallest studio apartment that I've ever seen in the city of Chicago. What I'm really impressed with this unit is it is super small, but they still have all of the amenities. So you have a full-size fridge, which is crazy to me. I've lived in units much bigger than this and not had a full-size fridge. The other one, you have a dishwasher. Like, I actually cannot believe that such a small unit has a full-size dishwasher. Not even a small one, a full-size dishwasher. You also have a gas stove, oven, and microwave. You've got some good kitchen cabinets up there. The fact that they were able to fit the dishwasher under the kitchen sink, I'm like actually completely mind blown by it. The ceilings in here are a little bit taller than normal. My guess is that these ceilings are probably 10 foot or maybe 9.5. I think 9 feet is standard, which is really nice because it does make the unit feel even a little bit bigger than it actually is. Swinging around over to this side, this is your closet. So it actually is a really good size. My 450 square foot studio that I lived in with Alex in the city of Chicago had a smaller closet than this, and we were able to make it work. But the closet actually goes further on both ends than it looks like. And a huge perk to it is it goes all the way up to the ceiling height. So when it comes to this bar above me, you can stack tubs up there to go all the way to the ceiling, which would give you so much extra storage. If I lived in this studio, you would absolutely have to cycle out your clothes. So I would have all of my summer clothes be in tubs stacked up there to the ceiling, so that way only your winter clothes are hung, and vice versa. But honestly, it's a very good sized closet closet, considering how small of a footprint this unit is overall. So I kind of want to walk you through a little bit how I would lay out this floor plan if I was living in it. Right when you enter at the front door, number one, I would put coat racks on the wall behind me. When you're living in a small space, you always want to take as much advantage of your vertical space as possible. So instead of having my coats be in the closet with the rest of my clothes, you do have a little nook right there that would be perfect to do a little coat rack and be able to have your coats out of the way. Right here, I would want to kind of split up this space between kitchen and bedroom as much as I could. So what I think I would do is I would do a pretty small but rollable kitchen island. They sell them on Amazon. They have extra storage, which is great, but it's also a movable piece, which is very, very helpful. So I would do that right here. So that way you have more of like a fully built out kitchen. They also have them where it has a drop leaf. I'll pop one up here and put the link down in the description box. It can have a little drop leaf. So that way you could do stools up to it and have it as a dining space. So if you have a friend over or something, you can have them sit at your kitchen island while you're in the kitchen, or you guys could sit together and have dinner. I know it seems small and some people get weird about being like, I don't want my friends to see my bedroom. It's fine. Trust me, I've done it. I've hosted full dinner parties in my studio before. It is totally doable. This is small, but I would also do like storage boxes above the fridge underneath those cabinets there. I think that would just be a great extra cabinet sort of space that you could easily put snacks and stuff. And then any of your appliances, like your kitchen appliances that you don't use as often, so like a blender, or if you have like an Instant Pot, you could store all of those on top of the cabinets in your kitchen instead of them needing to actually take up cabinet space. Coming over here, I've kind of gone back and forth on how I would set up the bedroom. I think what I've come to the conclusion of is I would do my bed based off of this wall. Fun fact, my arms are the same size as a queen size bed, if you've never heard me say that before. You can definitely fit a queen size bed right here. And then what I think I would do is mount a shelf above your radiators. Something so that way you don't need a bedside table, but you just have a little shelf there to be able to put like a glass of water and your phone at night. I think if I lived in this unit, I would forgo having a full couch. I just don't know that I think that there's enough space to be able to comfortably do it. But what I would do at the foot of your bed over on this wall, I would do your dresser. I would do a tall boy dresser. Like I mentioned, you always want to take as much advantage of vertical space as humanly possible. So I would do a dresser that is taller than it is wide and put that up against this wall and put your TV on top of it. So it is doubling as both a TV console and your storage for your clothes. And then next to it, right in this space, I love a drop leaf table. I had one of these when I lived in my studio, and I think you could easily do a drop leaf table right along this part of the wall. That way, if you were working from home or something, pop up your drop leaf, pull out your monitor from your closet or wherever you've stored it. Maybe it's under your bed. Under bed storage is also huge. Do not overlook that. But you could set up your little workspace, and then when you're done for the day, take it all down, put down your drop leaf. You have opened up the space again. You would be surprised by how much furniture you could fit in here and still have it feel like a very comfortable space. All the time, I have people who walk into empty spaces and they cannot visually understand how you could do it. And people always think that their furniture is so much bigger than it actually is. And then when you actually put it in here, you'd be like, oh, look at how much extra space I have. There's also a website called floorplanners.com where you can upload your floor plan and it will have dimensions in there, and you can put in like queen size beds and things like that to get an idea of how much furniture you can fit. I always think that that is such a good idea when you're planning out a small space. Lastly, I do want to take you into the bathroom. So I do feel like they've done a really good job with this bathroom. Number one, it has a window in it, but I love that they put the like towel rack storage above the toilet. I think that's super helpful. The medicine cabinet for the sink does have storage behind it, so you'd be able to put a ton of your toiletries back there. And then unlike in the kitchen where they put the dishwasher under the sink and that does kind of eat into your storage, you do have storage under your bathroom sink. It's small, don't get me wrong, this is not a huge bathroom, but for the size and the footprint, I think they've done a really incredible job with it. Also, the actual shower itself is much bigger than I anticipated. This is not a particularly small shower, so that's really nice too. Checks all the boxes. I hope that walking you through how I would lay out this unit has kind of given you a new perspective to think about when it comes to studios and small space living. And if you were considering any other studios, they're probably going to be larger, which is even more space to play with. Your first apartment is not going to be your last apartment. In today's age of social media, and when you can see so many people with such beautiful, incredible apartments, I get so many people who think that that has to be what they get right off the bat. Your first apartment is not your last apartment. It is for 1 year. You can always upgrade and move on after that. that. But if this is all that fits in your budget, I would hate for somebody to not move to Chicago because they didn't feel like they could afford it. You need to be able to make 3 times the monthly rent in your gross income, roughly $45K a year, to be able to afford this unit. And like I said, your first apartment is not your last. If you get a promotion, or if you find a roommate, or you decide to move in with a partner next year, or if you just get a new job in Chicago that's paying you more, you can always move on and upwards. I think this location is so cool, and I love a small space. You can make this so cozy. All right, all of that talk about small space living and organization has gotten me hungry. I love this part of Lincoln Park. We're like 2 blocks away from the lake on Clark Street, so really, really great location as far as being able to access the actual park of Lincoln Park and the lakefront and everything. The buses do go through this area a ton, so it's pretty easy to get downtown. You're a little bit further from the trains. It is also just a really great location as far as different restaurants and things. So I am heading to Sushi Hall to go get their lunch special. I love a lunch special, but in general, this location, so many incredible restaurants. You would never get bored or sick of places to go.
I couldn't save.
Yeah, sounds good.
I left my heart on my sleeve on a one-way trip to Chicago. You made a fool out of me, now I'm all used up. How did I know? Don't act like you don't ever want it if you never need it. Even though you don't feel the same. Yeah, I left my heart on my sleeve on a one-way trip to Chicago. Every time that I think about it, I just